And anyone who's listening can have their friends go to Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council on YouTube. Just search that, and they'll be able to see all our live videos and previous videos. That since now that recording, we just started this last week. Gives people a little more access to what we do. Okay, let me find Fred. And anyone who's listening can have their friends go to Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council on YouTube. Just search that. Yep. And they'll be able to see all our live videos and previous videos. Since now that recording. We are recording now. Let me look for Fred. Unless he's calling in on a phone number I don't recognize. What you do.
While you do that, let me go ahead and call the meeting to order.
Let me find Fred. I don't think I have his phone number. And anyone who's listening can have their friends go to Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council on YouTube. Just search that. Yep. And they'll be able to see all our live videos and previous videos. Since now that recording. So we are recording now. Let me look for Fred. Unless he's calling in on a phone number I don't recognize. I'm sorry, that's our feedback.
While you do that, let me go ahead and call the meeting to order.
Let me find Fred. I don't think I have his phone number. Whoever's listening can have their friends go to
I think Brandon.
I think we need everyone to mute themselves unless they need to talk on an item, and we'll get along and move quickly. I hope, or relatively quickly. Let me apologize for the technical difficulties at the beginning. That's really my fault. I haven't had a chance yet to really train up on Zoom, so Colby is stepping in, and hopefully this will get better quickly. First, roll call. Robert Sabelli.
Yes.
Ren Blight's here. Colby Jensen.
Here.
Mark Stevenson is absent, evidently. Mark. Bill Peter. Absent. Brandon Whalen.
Here.
Brandon, do you prefer Wayland or Castellanos or both? All?
Wayland Castellanos is my name.
Okay.
And there's a hyphen actually
Okay.
after Wayland. So
Good. Okay. Well, I want to get that right from this.
thank you.
Ron Babini.
Here.
And Tess Taylor.
Here.
Freddie Berry. And Robin, are you sitting in to listen in, or are you?
I'm just listening in.
Okay, that's good. Okay, thank you. The minutes weren't posted early enough to be considered at this meeting, so we will have to put up approval of minutes.
I just found Fred.
Good. Okay. Anyway, the minutes will be put off until our next meeting on September 13th. Next up is public comments. 3 minutes. Please, if you can, you don't need to take 3 minutes. The other thing is, please don't speak on items that are on the. You need to speak on items that are, not on the agenda, and I'll be taking notes. But you'll have a chance to speak at on items on the agenda when those things come up. Colby, you want to take over the?
Ren and Colby, a quick point of order, please. This is Tess Taylor. Lee Jamison is here as a board member and a panelist. Is he also a committee member?
Not that I'm aware of.
He's not. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. I will. Let's see. I will. Okay. Okay, I'm going to disable your talking for now, but I'll bring it back in and meet you back in. I can't remove you because then it's going to cause another problem technically.
Sorry I'm late, by the way, you guys. Am I also a committee member? Just curious.
I believe I had you down as a committee member.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Ren. I hope I
Yeah.
am. If not, I want to be, just clarifying I am, but thank you.
Okay. So,
Okay. So public comment, I'll open it's up. So raise your hand if you want to speak, and I see one hand raised. Ryan Altoon, you are unmuted.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
We hear you.
Great. So the item I'd like to talk about this evening is an illegal fence that's being constructed on Navajo Street, 4269. It's 6 feet high. It's a home that's on this block. Started construction on Saturday in the afternoon with no survey, no permit with an unlicensed contractor. Both the contractor and the new property owner admitted that they knew that only a 3'6" wall was legal, but that they were going to build it anyways, and that they felt they didn't need a building permit to construct something on their property. 6-foot fences require a variance, so you have to pull a permit, and then you have to get signatures from the neighbors that surround this home. And they've done none of that. And even after they were notified, they continued construction. And so now there are a number of 6-foot tall columns that are sitting in front of the property now. A number of the neighbors are actually, I believe, tuned in via phone, and we'll let them speak as well. I'm not sure if they know how to raise their hands on this item, but the request is that we halt this project. We've contacted CD4 and asked them to send out an inspector, which they said they'd be doing, to do a stop work order, and that they are compelled to go through the proper channels, proper process, and actually pull a permit and go through this whole element. So with this, I'm getting a text. The neighborhood watch captain who lives across the street from this property, Rebecca Marks, would like to speak, so I will hand it off to her. Thank you.
Thank you, Ryan. Next, we have David Wheatley. David, you are unmuted, I believe. David, you there?
Yeah, it took a while for the sign to come up on my screen, but it's on now. Thank you. Yeah, thanks to Ryan for noticing something like this. Takes a neighborhood to really be on top of things, and I'm so glad that he's on top of that. Speaking of that kind of thing, on the 134 freeway east at the Cahuenga off-ramp, there's a substantial ditch when you make a right turn there, and all that's preventing cars from driving right into it is an orange cone. And there's some other ways to turn on there that are just as bad. So I'm hoping somebody's keeping notes, not the kind where minutes get approved a month from now, but something gets turned in right away. Somebody who can deal with this. It's not quite 911, but it's headed that way. I would also like to let you know that Senate Bills 9 and 10, which would permit many, many units of housing on single family lots, is in the assembly now. They're on a break until the end of this week. We really need people to call in to the local assembly people and express their displeasure with these bills, and to ask, if not insist, if not demand, that the assembly people vote no on these pernicious bills. The fact that the minutes were not posted early enough, I just want to say it's not a good sign. It's not a good sign. And let's see, what else? Toluca Lake is a totally beautiful, beautiful neighborhood. And these bills coming down from the state are opportunistic developers, which they're supposed to be opportunistic, but they're backed up by giant millions and hundreds of millions of money, of big money, trying to come in and turn single family homes into inventory. That then if these bills 9 and 10 get passed, these inventory of homes can then be demolished and put up multi-unit to make even more money from these lots. We absolutely have to preserve these homes and push back with everything we have, Senate Bills 9 and 10. And And also this idea that supply and demand will solve the housing crisis in LA. What idiot developer would ever oversupply the demand and depress the rental and sales prices of real estate? Only an idiot would do that, and they're smarter than that. The supply is never going to be enough to bring
15
housing costs down.
seconds.
Thank you, Ren. The supply is never going to be enough to bring prices down because they're smarter than that. And that's why we need to stop them with legislation. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, David. Next up, I see phone number 779. Mute. All right, 779. If last three digits are 779, you can now speak. You're unmuted.
Thank you. This is Rebecca Marks. I'm the watch captain for Navajo. And I observed the same behavior that Ryan Altoon did on Saturday. It's disconcerting that in spite of the fact that they were notified of the permitting issue and the licensing issue, that they would not halt production and continue to build. All of the neighbors have expressed to me in the immediate area concern with changing the look of the street and what will follow potentially if they are allowed to move forward with this. So we would like to make sure that we follow proper protocol and regulation. And I'm representing other neighbors on the street. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. Next up, we have phone number ending in 820. Last three digits, 820. You are unmuted. Or we can come back. Okay, we'll come back to 820, and we'll go on to Laura Bauer. Laura, are you there?
Yes, I'm there.
Okay, great.
Hi, I also live on Navajo, and I saw that this was going on. The former owner was a judge in family court for many, many years, and he died in the home, and the house has been sold, and these people have instantly turned into those neighbors that nobody wants to see after a lovely elderly couple leaves the area. And they are putting up this fence. I saw it as well, and just sort of concur with what Ryan and Rebecca are talking about. It sounds also like this person's whole MO is, I'll do what I want when I want and we'll deal with it later, and is a bully in trying to push people around in that way. And the Navajo Loop, as they call it, which is the circle that goes behind from the golf course over in Toluca Lake, it's just, you know, a very kind, gentle little neighborhood where all the neighbors look out for each other. And this particular situation is a menace.
Great, thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
Next up, we have 820. It's, I believe, Randy. Sorry, Randy, are you there? Okay, we'll come back again. I'm asking to unmute. All right, we'll go back to him in a second. Now I see the other phone numbers. We have a lot of callers in tonight, so I can't see who it is. So I'm just looking for numbers here. It's a lot of different numbers. Try Randy again. Okay, it's not. We have a technical difficulty there. Let me try one more time.
Hello, am I unmuted?
There you are. Now we hear you. Hi, Randy.
Oh, yeah, hi. Yeah, I'm Randy Landsberger. I live indirectly about 10 o'clock from that property at 4278 Navajo. And first of all, I want to thank Ryan for jumping all over this. We were traveling at the time and then heard word of this, but one of the reasons this person was, you can see how deceptive they're being, is they started this on a Saturday knowing there's no inspector driving around on a Saturday. And I am a local builder in the neighborhood. I've got 2 houses under complete construction, brand new, ground up, and I've done probably over 40 homes in the neighborhood. I could never get away with putting up a 6-foot wall, and clients of mine that I had to go remove walls along Clybourne, literally had to remove their walls. The city demanded it, and they had to be pulled down because they were 6-foot walls. And even Eric Stone Street, if you talk to Eric, it took him almost 3 moved from a 42-inch to a 6-foot wall. So I don't know what he thinks he's going to get away with, but I too know several of the inspectors in the area, and I put a call into one this afternoon, and he's just going to take a look at this, and he said he's going to try to drive by tomorrow. And also someone at the city that I was able to contact that said they too, when I give them the address, are going to check on it. So yeah, we can't let him get away with this because this gentleman thinks he can do what he wants on this property. As of tonight, he went to a hardware store and bought a private property sign, plastic one, and posted it on a stick in his front yard.
Yeah.
So I will continue to support you, Ryan, on whatever we need to do to remedy this and make him follow all the legal paths that he needs to comply with the city in order to build a wall like this. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, Randy. Thank you, Randy. Next, I don't see any other hands up. I'm just going to do one more sweep and see if we had any other comments from phones. Let's see, 20, that one. I'm looking for, we had someone earlier, Brian Davies. His last 3 digits was 155. I'm looking for his phone number. I don't see. Oh, here we go. Okay, I see you now. Brian, you there? Are you there, Brian?
Can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Okay. Thank you. I'm just following the leads of Ryan and Rebecca and Laura and Randy. I too live on Navajo, and just want to express the concern that I think most of the neighbors would have on this street as to just the kind of the reckless behavior of any of the residents on the street to just go about doing construction projects like that. With the city of LA being as sizable as it is, I think most of us are kind of unaware of where we go to or who do we turn to. And so thankfully Ryan is a good shepherd here in helping us, but it's something that I think the reason why we're all on this call is we're all willing to pitch in to help the process, not necessarily to discourage residents from doing work at their house, but it certainly is concerning when they start doing stuff such as that. And as someone alluded to, it's likely that the home will be significantly renovated sometime in the future. And so we want this to be noted beyond so that we're not dealing with this stuff years from now. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. And I believe that concludes public comment. I don't see any other hands up or any other phone numbers who wanted to speak. So we will move on to the committee.
Yeah. Item 5, committee member news and announcements. Hold up your hand if you have an announcement. Fred?
Fred, let me get him.
Yeah, Fred.
Hi, yes, hello, welcome everyone. And listen, I just wanted to comment on the Navajo thing. All you need to do is call building and safety and file a report. This has happened on my block before too with the wall. And as soon as building and safety is notified, they are on you like a fly on you know what to get that corrected. So, and then you'll have a report. So it sounds like maybe one of the neighbors has done that already, but I know on my block, that's what we did in the past. And it works, you know, because once the file is reported with these inspectors, they cannot drop it until the case is solved, and they will work and make sure it is in compliance, and they will be on you like again, so that's what I would do. Thanks very much. Hope it gets solved quickly for you.
Thanks, Fred. Actually, I did too. I called the NIFI's office today. I spoke with Mehmet, and they're filing right now with DBS, and I know other neighbors have as well. So I think this will get a lot of attention.
Good. Okay, let's move on to item 6. These are just current projects, so update on a variety of things. The Cahuenga Addison lot, still working to get the lease agreement set up and get the design into budget. So it is going on. It's still a live project. And there are a lot of old timers like me who want to, it's like we can't get off the committee until that project gets done. So we're on it. 6.2 Riverside Drive Streetscape. This is a very important project. We need to get a wide range of participation on this. And I'd like to call on Ryan if he would just talk about for a minute about the timing on the Streetscape Survey.
Okay.
Ryan?
I'll bring him up.
Ren, I had a couple of questions about the first item, Cahuenga Addison.
All right. Hold on a minute, Ryan. Yes, go ahead, Tess.
Okay, so is it possible to please get a little bit more detail on these agendas? I'd love to see some of the supporting documents on this. I'd like to know who the LA City Planning case manager is for this Cahuenga Addison item is. I did find the city council file number and went over that, but I just want to look at some of these things, including the administrative record. It would be useful if you could please include the project number, the city planning or city planning project number that is used. Do you have that available, Ren?
Not at hand, but I can put it on the agenda for the future.
Okay. Are you able to send that to me today or tomorrow?
I won't be able to. I'm leaving town late tonight and won't be back until next Monday. So it'll be a week.
Okay. Maybe I can put together a short list of things. I'd be interested to know, have there been competitive bids on this?
It's gone through a long process. There's a real history on this. This project has had, 4 or 5 different iterations, if you will. To go back through the history on this would take all night. So
well, I'm not suggesting
we won't do it tonight, but I can give you some further background if you want to talk to me later.
I'll send you an email, Ren, but what I'd like to see is the LA City Planning number so that I can look it up. And it would be useful to provide some supporting documentation, especially since we have some new committee members here. And while I'm not interested in halting progress, I do want to see what's happened, what's going on, competitive bids, all the things that would be necessary for, a project to move forward. So I'll shoot you a list later. How's that?
Okay, thank you. Okay, back to the Riverside Drive Streetscape.
Yeah, let me bring up Ryan.
Yes, if you would.
Great. Can you hear me?
We hear you.
Yes.
Fantastic. Okay, yes, so the Streetscape Survey is live now. You can find it on the TolucaLakePartners.org website. I believe it's also linked on the GTLNC.org website. Again, this is a survey process that's going to be polling the stakeholders in the area and elicit feedback from them as the consultants go through the process in tandem with the City of Los Angeles to develop the design for Streetscape. So this initial overture is important, that as many people participate in this as possible. We want as many voices at the table as we can. The survey will be open for about 30 days approximately, ending, I think, in early September. And as we go through this process, then we'll also be incorporating a design shred and so forth as we go through the planning exercise. So look for more to come in the future.
Good. Yeah, I would encourage everyone to go online and participate in the survey. The broader input we get, I think the more confidence we'll have that we're on the right track for our streetscape.
We have a question from Tess. Tess, is your hand raised from before, or is that a new one?
Who, me?
Yes, I see your hand.
Yeah, I actually do have some questions, but let Ren finish first, please.
Okay, what about David Wheatley?
Yes, let's get David.
Yeah, thank you. I actually had my hand up for the prior item, 6.1. I wanted to draw your attention to, at the same time, object to once the lease agreement is signed. You see that on the agenda there? That implies that this is already going ahead, that there are no other hurdles, no other public concerns, no chance for the public to weigh in on things, nowhere else for the neighbors to give an opinion. It sounds like this is a done deal, and I find that particularly irksome. I just don't think it's fair. Also, I think we should be defining what HUMC stands for the same way you generously put what General Services Department, what that acronym stands for. And let's see if there's anything else on this. Now Institute, I'm presuming, is a particular organization. Don't know who they are. And yeah, and maybe LA Graduate School of Architecture could come first, and then in parens, what the acronym is for that will help newcomers to the meeting, especially if we're widening out to YouTube. There could be people from all over the world trying to figure out what this is. And the more we can help them with that, the better. Thanks.
Okay. Okay, the Lancashire Boulevard streetscape is moving forward. Planning Department has agreed to put that in the plan, and the it's as we speak, I think it's coming together. So we should be seeing some things there on Lancashire Boulevard in the next month or two. The Clybourne Foreman median project is on hold. The Moore Park Way median project is also on hold at this point. The angled parking on Foreman, we have gotten a little hold up from the city attorney. We now have some more questions from them that they want us to answer on this project. But we should get that out of the way in the next couple of weeks. And I'm hoping by the next meeting, we will finally be able to report progress and start moving forward on actually getting the plans and the cost estimate into place. So those are the catch-up items.
Actually, sorry, as I read, Tess had her hand up too. I think another question.
Yeah. Hi. Thank you, Colby. We're sort of bouncing around a lot here, but to the streetscape, I saw the survey. Ryan, is the raw data going to be shared with the Greater Toluca Lake Neighborhood Council?
I can answer that. Yes.
Okay. So we will see the raw data.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, this is Ryan again. Yeah, the neighborhood council is a partner in the process. Absolutely.
Okay. And then, sorry to jump around a little bit, but somebody has kind of an urgent question, and it's because the minutes are not available to review and approve. I think, hold on, let me see if I'm interpreting this correctly. One of the stakeholders in a neighboring neighborhood council, Patty Kirby, wanted to address the Weddington development, the Weddington Golf and Tennis Club. Is that going to be possible to do later, or?
Yeah, it's on the agenda. It's on the agenda. It's the item we're coming to next, as a matter of fact.
Okay, sorry, I just got an alert, and she wanted to make sure it's not too late to get that moving forward. Okay, thank you. Sorry.
Okay. Item 7.1 on the agenda is the Weddington Golf and Tennis Cultural Heritage Designation. That's a proposal that a number of neighborhood councils have already supported. They've asked us to support that as well. And we have, I think, Terry Austin presenting that. And then we've invited Stacy Marble from Harvard Westlake School to respond. And then after that, we can have further input and discussion. Terry, are you on there? Terry Austin, do you see?
I see Terry. She's not, her hand isn't raised, but I'll allow her to, I'll push allow to talk.
Yes, please.
I know how to raise her hand. Terry? I'm sorry, or maybe Stacy. I'm sorry, is it Stacy? I don't know what. Oh, I pushed Stacy. Stacy, you there?
No, Terry.
We'll go back to her.
Go first.
Terry, let me find Terry. Here we go. Terry Austin. Terry Austin, you are unmuted. He's not unmuting.
I see your name on there.
I'm asking to unmute. No response yet. Ren, who else, or Tess, who else was there? Or Ren, who else was there about this issue? Patty? I'll bring Patty on. Let's try her.
Oh, yeah, Patty Kirby could also speak on this. Yeah, Patty.
Here's Patty. Patty, are you there?
I am here, yes.
Good, okay.
Okay.
So here's my question. Since you can't vote on it tonight, would it be better if we could get on to the agenda for your board meeting? The Plum Committee vote is coming up, and we need to get us, the CIS is all in before that vote. So time is of the essence. Would it be better just to get us on the board meeting agenda?
No, I'd like to discuss it at the meeting tonight. And
We can do that too, but we would need a vote so that it can get entered on the, as a CIS on the city clerk file before the Plum votes.
yeah, we can create the language for the CIS as part of the committee work here and then present it at the board.
Okay, that would be great. All right, so Terry has the presentation, but let me have to text her. Can you have Stacy go first while I try to find Terry's audio?
Yes, I can bring Stacy on. Is that okay, Ren?
Sure.
Stacy, are you there?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Stacy Marble, and I am the Harvard Westlake School's Director of Community and Public Affairs. I also lived in Toluca Lake proudly for 10 years and worked for Councilman Tom LaBonge. Before I address the proposed resolution that you will consider voting on tonight, I want to share that from the moment Harvard Westlake purchased the Weddington property in December of 2017, we committed to a transparent process, seeking out and welcoming conversation with anyone who is interested.
Here I am.
I'm sorry, actually, we have Stacy talking now. We'll go back to you.
Should I continue?
Yes, Stacy, go ahead.
Okay. To date, we have hosted a half dozen public forums, attended another half dozen hosted by others, and participated in well over 100 one-on-one and small group conversations, chats, and coffees. We have made ourselves available by phone, Zoom, email, and in person to anyone who has expressed an interest in talking to us about the Harvard Westlake River Park. Despite misleading information circulating in the community and on social media, Weddington Golf and Tennis is not a publicly owned facility, nor has it ever been one. The Weddington family owned it for generations until Harvard Westlake purchased it from them a few years ago. For the last 70 years, Weddington has been a for-profit business that has offered paying customers the ability to engage in two recreational activities, golf and tennis. From the beginning, Harvard Westlake understood that some stakeholders have come to value or even depend on access to the recreational opportunities at this site. This historic use is accounted for in the River Park Plan. In fact, the The river park will not just preserve, but expand the community's historic access to recreational opportunities at this property. Let me be clear about that. We have proposed a redevelopment of the site that will offer a far greater choice of recreational activities and will serve an even broader range of community stakeholders than the facility currently does. The planned athletic fields open to the public for soccer, frisbee, playing a game of catch. Swimming pool available for public swim programs. The tennis courts open to the public for matches and tournaments. Even the gymnasium open for reservation by community.
Say about it. The Studio City Neighborhood Council.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, someone, yeah, go ahead, Stacy.
Okay. The remodeled clubhouse, updated cafe, acres of beautifully landscaped park area, walking and jogging trails, seating, shading, water features, all open to the public. In fact, city approval of this project will come with a condition that these amenities will be available for community enjoyment. We fully accept and embrace this commitment. We look forward to inviting the community to enjoy the river park along with us. In committing to community access to a wider range of recreational amenities that are currently available, the Harvard-Westlake River Park doesn't just honor the history of publicly accessible recreational use of the property. The river park doubles down on that historic activity on the property. This is a fact. In addition to continuing to serve the public, the school's plan offers a number of very significant environmental benefits. As compared to existing conditions, the river park will represent a projected reduction of almost 9 million gallons per year in the amount of water used on site. In addition, as a part of the project, we are proposing the development of the largest privately funded stormwater reclamation system in Los Angeles that will capture and clean 1 million gallons of water. We are also proposing a 100% native landscape palette, climate appropriate, drought tolerant, that will increase the total number of trees on the site and will replace palms and eucalyptus with oaks, toyon, sycamore, and other appropriate species that offer greater carbon sequestration capacity, greater canopy coverage, greater habitat and food source for local wildlife. When the river park is completed, the tree life and the overall environment at Ludington will be healthier than it is today. That is simply a fact. In January of 2020, City Council member Paul Krikorian wrote a letter to Harvard-Westlake that was circulated widely in the community. The letter outlined Mr. Krikorian's reaction to Harvard-Westlake's draft river park plan and the expectations he had for continued refinement of the proposed project. Mr. Krikorian asked Harvard-Westlake to undertake a number of responsibilities and enhancements to the plan that were keeping with its historic use as a safe, recreational space open for public enjoyment. The council member asked Harvard-Westlake to commit to maintaining the Zev Yaroslavsky River Greenway, which, as you all know, is desperately in need of ongoing care. We have committed to taking on that responsibility. The councilman required the school to provide publicly accessible tennis courts. We have committed to doing so. The council member asked the school to preserve the clubhouse, cafe, putting green, the features that his office deemed architecturally significant. We have committed to doing so. The council member asked the school to increase the total amount of non-recreational open space on the site and keep it open to the public. The River Park Plan site does that. The council member asked that the school allow community groups to access the entire set of athletic amenities when they are not in use by the school. We have committed to doing so. The council member asked that the school develop a water reclamation system to capture stormwater. We have committed to do so. The council member asked that the landscape plan provide the opportunity to sequester more carbon than the current conditions. It does. The council member asked that 2 substantial trees be planted for every one that is removed, and that those trees should be compliant with the LA River Improvement Overlay and the LA County River Master Plan. They are. In short, every aspect of the River Park Plan, Harvard-Westlake has met or exceeded the expectations set forth by Councilman Krikorian. The motion before you tonight asks whether to support the efforts of River Park opponents to recommend historic cultural monument designation for the property to the city's Planning and Land Use Management Committee. In reaching your conclusion, I think it's important to remember that the city's process for considering such a designation is to be based purely on architectural or cultural merits. It is not the intent of the city or those who oversee the process to have the analysis appropriated by obstructionist intent as it relates to the property and land use matters. Yet those who have advanced the historic designation of Weddington have been explicit that obstruction is their goal. For those who were in attendance when the Cultural Heritage Commission met earlier this year, the commissioners appropriately recognized what I expressed earlier, that Weddington has long been a place of public recreation and that continued public access to recreational facilities is what is important. This is reflected in the recent updated recommendation from the CHC. And to be clear, we support that continued public access to recreational open space. However, Harvard Westlake will not continue to operate an unprofitable and environmentally damaging golf course indefinitely, and designation as a landmark will not change that fact. To recap, Harvard Westlake has been transparent with the community since the moment we purchased Weddington Golf and Tennis in 2017. The school has engaged in hundreds of conversations with stakeholders to gather their feedback about our proposed plan. The feedback, along with the feedback from the council office, has been carefully considered. Harvard Westlake understands that many stakeholders have long valued public access to the recreational amenities at Weddington. As a result, Harvard Westlake's River Plan prioritizes public access to a wide range of recreational amenities, from field to track to pool to gym to tennis courts to outdoor gathering areas. And the River Park Plan intends to preserve those current amenities that are architecturally significant, namely the putting green, clubhouse, and novelty golf ball lights. When complete, the River Park will offer Studio City community more access to recreation, not less, and it will provide an environment that is healthier than the current condition. I thank you for your time and look forward to your feedback.
Thank you, Stacy. Can we get either Patty or Terry on now?
I'm here. Can I share my screen with you?
Yes, let me see. I think I'm new to. Do I make you a panelist?
You make me a participant or a co-host or queen or some
okay, let me find how to do that. Terry Moore, promote the panelist. This should do it. All right, if that doesn't do it, I'll try one more thing. So give it a shot, Terry. Okay, maybe I'll do a co-host. All right, Terry, you're a co-host now. Oh, you're muted.
Unmute. Okay. Now I'm going to share my screen and you should be able to see this now. Can you see it?
Yes.
It's coming up. Yes, I see it.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for giving me your time tonight. And I just want to start off by saying what we're asking you to support tonight is not anything to do with the long presentation you just heard about what the actual project is. This nomination is purely on the historical merits, which was not a decision made by me, but it was a decision arrived at that this property does meet the criteria of a historical landmark by credentialed historians employed by the City of Los Angeles at the Cultural Heritage Commission and their staff. So the commission's made up of 5 people who are credentialed. Ms. Marble is not a credentialed historian, nor is anyone at Harvard Westlake, and I am not. I merely made the application after hiring a professional preservationist, and then the city and the commission adjudicated whether it is not historical. So they have decided that it meets the criteria, and now the nomination will go to the city council. I'm not even going to address all the things that were said about the actual development. That will come before you when the DEIR is released, and that's when you'll be able to decide whether 12-foot walls encasing 2/3 of this property represent open space, but that will be your decision. I want to talk to you about historical. This is a picture that you're looking at right now. This is the building as it is today. It is very much the same as it was in 1955. It was built by William M. Bray to mirror the buildings that were in the area, the residential neighborhood. This is Joe Kirkwood. If anyone doubts that there's any sort of a old reference going back to our Studio City history of being linked with the entertainment business. Joe Kirkwood here was a professional golfer, and it was his idea to start the, at that time, Joe Kirkwood Golf Center. This is the property as it is right now. This is the golf course, the 9-hole golf course, and the tennis courts. You often hear that the property has been changed radically. In fact, it hasn't. The big change was when these tennis courts went in, and when the fire station went in, it replaced some tennis courts. So what was changed was the 5th and 6th holes were changed, but the rest of the golf course is pretty much exactly as it was historically back in 1955. Here's originally when it opened. Again, it was called Golfingly Yours by Joe Kirkwood, and these are the programmatic light standards. They're not novelty lights. They're actually a particular type of architecture referred to as programmatic art, and they are very unique. They're the only ones in California. All that has changed of this building is that the beautiful trees have grown up to surround it. There's over 425 mature trees on the property. Here's the progression of the holes from 1955. And as I said, it's the same as it is today. First hole, second hole, third hole, fourth hole, fifth hole. Now this is where the tennis courts are. 6th hole, 7th hole, 8th hole, and 9th hole. So it's historically the same. Here's a vintage photograph from 1955-56. And as you can see, it's always been a gathering place for our community, and it is part of our cultural fabric that this has been open doors. This has always been a privately owned property, but since the day it opened, it's been open to the public. It was never a private club. It isn't today. You can walk in off the street and chat with your neighbors or get a coffee. You don't have to play golf or tennis, but it has never been a private club. It has always been open to everyone. Here's a picture of the beautiful golf ball lights. 6 remain of the original 8. And here is the stunning historic landscape of this property. We don't have enough trees. These are mature 100-foot California pines and eucalyptus, and there are Mexican fan palms. And I always make the joke that they don't eat small children. They are all also a beautiful carbon sequestering tree. Here's an example of the cooling element of all these trees on the golf course. And here's an example of all the diverse people who use it. Frisbee golf has also become very important. And it is one of the only multi-generation COVID-safe sports we can play in this day and time. Here's some vintage shots of, again, referring to the history. Dean Martin was the first person to play at the first golf tournament. Women were welcome. They were given lessons at 50 cents when the time was, the going rate was $5, because the owners of the golf course, of the business, wanted to promote women to play golf. And this is Fred Weddington himself, one of the descendants of the original Weddington family. And again, it's always been open to children, to adults, to men, to women. It's always been very inclusive property. And here's just one more photograph of how stunningly beautiful it is. So thank you for your time. I'm going to turn things over to Jesse Sanford to answer any questions you might have. But again, please keep in mind that what we've asked you to support is the historic nomination. What the development will or won't be is not part of what we're asking for tonight. I believe that developer Harvard Westlake always defaults back to that because they're very afraid that if the cultural nomination goes through, it will give our Greater Valley community a seat at the table as to what eventually goes in. And I think they would like to deny us that input. So the nomination does not stop development. It just gives us a voice into what might be preserved of the historic nature of the property. So having said that, I will finish, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Terry.
Okay, I think the board members now have a chance to perhaps ask questions or make their own statement. Colby?
We have Patty. She was on earlier, and I think we got bumped off. Patty, are you there? Patty Kirby?
To make the comment that we have over 13,000 people that have signed the petition to support the designation. We have support of over 300 letters. It is not, again, like Terry said, about the development, and we are not the opponents. We are not against Harvard Westlake per se. We are just trying to make it deemed historical. And also, I just want to make a comment that she kept, Stacy says they're losing money. They can't possibly be losing money. It's busy constantly, and it's the most money they've probably ever made. So that's just my opinion anyway. So I think we can answer more questions. Jesse, I think, is on the line. He's our part of
Okay, we're going to take it in order of looking
Okay.
at you on the list.
All right, thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Patty. Rand, we have one or a couple more. We'll just go ahead with that. I see.
Okay,
Okay.
sure.
Give David Wheatley a chance to talk. Hi, David, you there?
I'm here. Yes, thank you.
You're-
Yeah, I'm noticing some similarities in the way developers do their presentations. They talk about how many times they've met with the community and what a great job they're doing, and how they've, as if to say, and let's say that adds up to 300 people, they make it sound like they've talked individually, all these 300 people, spending a couple of hours with each, and that all of these 300 people favor what they want to do. That's the way it sounds to me, but that's obviously not true. I think we need to get some more information on when these meetings were held, how many people were at each meeting, maybe even a list of the people, given privacy concerns. And yeah, I totally support this being designated as a historic site. And yeah, and I'd also like to know what facilities at the existing Harvard Westlake School are open to the public, if there's a cost, what the hours are. Also, the nice lady said that whenever the school is not using the facility, then the public can. How's the public supposed to know when the school is not using it? And what if the school is using it 24 hours a day for years? The public will never get in. So I would be very mistrustful of these kinds of presentations. I've heard them before. We've all heard them before. Let's write down what they say. This is what happens when big money is on the side of the developer. They do professional presentations like this, designed to get people to set aside their logic and their critical thinking. And that's when we need to make sure that we never do that, and that the people on the historic designation side are bringing it just as much as the developers are. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Bren, there's a few other people.
Sure. Committee members first, if there's people who have questions. I have a question as well, but yeah, any other committee members that have questions, we should do those.
Ren, would you like me to respond individually or just at the end?
I think, Stacy, I would hope that you would, kind of get the questions, kind of list them out, and then you can respond again once we all kind of gathered the questions. So I think we've got, say, Fred up first. Can we get him on?
Okay, very quick question. All I want to know is, do we know when the city council is going to be voting on this matter?
Patty?
Yes, it actually was on the Plum Committee agenda. It was supposed to be October 17th. It is now tentatively scheduled for September 14th.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. That'll be the same day as our next Plum Committee meeting here. So, yeah, we need to come to whatever resolution we can tonight. We have Brandon and then Tess, I guess. Brandon?
Thanks, Ren. So thank you both parties, I suppose, for the presentation. My question is, for the Save Weddington side, I wish I had a supporting, do we have a council file on hand? Like the supporting information would definitely be helpful to understand like what kind of buildings, or is it the building itself that's trying to be designated, or other features of the golf course? That wasn't clear to me. My second question, I guess, would be for Harvard Westlake, but it sounds like a draft environmental impact report is being prepared. I would assume that a cultural resources section is being prepared as well, with supporting, cultural resources report or what have you. When would the draft EIR be released? Those are my two questions for right now.
Okay, good. Yeah, good questions. Thank you. Tess?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, those are good questions, Brandon. I have a couple questions that I'll comment. I was also contacted by Patty Kirby in my capacity as president of the West Toluca Lake Residents Association. And our board voted to send a letter of support in support of the historical designation. So I'm certainly in favor of that, as is our community and our board. But I want to know if the supporting documentation has had a chance to get to the rest of the committee, our planning and land use committee, number one. Number two, Patty, are you able to provide the city planning case number and the person in charge of this at LA City Planning? Because that would be useful as well. So those are my comments. Thank you.
Okay. Ron has a question or comment. Ron, did you?
Yeah, okay, hold on, I got it. For Stacy, I understand the replacing more trees, et cetera, but why did Harvard Westlake buy the property? Are you planning to put a campus there? What is the plan?
Okay, that's a question. I think the final question that I have would be what limitations or problems would be created by having a designation? Stacy, if you could answer that, just besides the freedom in the future to do what you may want to do with the property, is there something specific about the limitations of historic designation for the property that is going to create a problem for Harvard Westlake immediately? If you could address that. Stacy, why don't you go ahead first, and then Patty with the questions that were aimed at that side. Stacy, you still there?
Yes, I'm here. I tried to take notes and I'll answer them one at a time. So I first want to respond to David and let him know that currently on our campus, the high school campus, which is located on Coldwater Canyon in Studio City, our track and field is open to the public for public use. There is no cost for doing so. We expect that at this River Park campus, the same would apply. Free of cost, public use, and we would have some sort of system similar to how we operate the track and field right now. But the school will be using these amenities primarily between 3 and 7 p.m. So before the hours before leading up to 3 will be open to the public. The tennis, the fields, the gym, the pool. Also after 7 p.m., we expect it to be open to public also. From sunrise to sunset, we expect the park area, the open space park area, to be open to the public. I think Brandon asked, somebody asked about the DEIR. And we hope that this will be released later this year, hopefully. I think there is a lot of common ground currently before you. I think we all can agree that we want the golf ball lights preserved. We all can agree we want the clubhouse preserved. We all can agree that the putting green should be preserved. And the open space access to recreation use for the public, absolutely preserved. All can agree on that. We do expect the golf course to close. Golfing will no longer take place at this site. The putting green will still be there. Absolutely historic. Public can still come use the putting green, but the actual golf will not be there. Whatever happens on, next Tuesday, golf will not continue at this site. I hope that answered some of your questions.
Yeah, the
one more
designation, I'm sorry, Stacy, would the designation hamper or change or create problems for Harvard Westlake?
It's to be determined, I think. We have a lot of land use experts looking at it. I'm sure our attorneys are looking at it as far as what it will actually mean. But we feel good, and we feel like we agree with a lot of the people that are on the phone call tonight about what is to be preserved and what has been recommended to be preserved at the site. And for those who are not familiar with our project, I would just like to put into the record to please visit www.hwriverpark.com. That will show the plan that was submitted to the city, hwriverpark.com.
Yeah, I'd recommend that as well. I mean, I got a much better picture of the whole property and what was being proposed for it by looking at the Harvard Westlake write-up on that. So I'd recommend that all of you take a look at that.
Ren, can we have?
By the way, this all came up very quickly, and I didn't have time to send out all the information to everybody. What was, what this was about, and I didn't realize it was quite this immediate a consideration. I was hoping we'd have a little more time to review this before we had to make a decision, but looks like we don't. Patty, did you have some answers or questions?
Yes, I actually would like our president of Save Weddington to talk, but before I do that, I would like you to go to saveweddington.org, and all of the city clerk file references are there. But again, we are not asking to fight the development. We are asking to save open space, to save mature trees from being torn down, and to have a seat at the table. Now, so would you please let Jesse, do you see him on the call there, Colby?
I do. I was letting Ren get to Jesse and Jesse Phillip, and we also have Tess Taylor and a few other
Right.
people.
So saveweddington.org has all of the files. It's actually 2021-0470 is the city clerk file number, and it's all listed on that website, even the NOP and all of the documents from the city. And you'll see what could happen before and after that development. But again, we're talking about the open space historical designation. We're not talking about golf.
Good. Okay.
So please call on Jesse.
Ren, what would you like to do?
Yes, go ahead.
Would you like Jesse? Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, Jesse, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate this opportunity. And I'd just like to go over some points that were raised previously, hoping to answer some of your questions. The designation that we're talking about tonight, it is for the entire subject property. That includes the clubhouse, that includes all of the historic cultural landscape. You know, the trees were planted in a way that defines the fairways. And so cultural preservation and historic preservation, you know, has now expanded beyond just architecture and buildings, but to preserve open spaces and culturally historic landscapes. So it is for the entire 16-acre site. And as Patty said, all of this information can be found through the city clerk's website. The council file number, I can repeat it for anyone who wants to write it down, is 21-0470. Again, 21-0470. And all this information is there as well. And in terms of the question that was raised, what limitations would be created by having this historic cultural monument designation passed? Really, the historic cultural monument designation does not prevent development of any kind. It simply gives the community more of a voice at the table to advocate for the preservation of the historically significant, publicly accessible recreational facilities. That's the goal here. So the monument designation will not prevent developers. It simply allows the community to have more input in the process, in the DEIR process, and as we move forward. And I would like to add one more thing in terms of, you know, it's hard to honor the history of the site without pointing to some of the findings that are in that council file 21-0470. I'd like to read just one quote. I'll say, this is from the commissioners. The Studio City Golf and Tennis Club, quote, embodies the distinctive characteristics of a style, type, period, or method of construction as an excellent example of a 1950s community recreational center. So that's what we believe, that's what we're advocating for, and we appreciate your support, and we're here to answer any more questions you may have. Thank you.
Okay, Tess, you have your hand up still?
No, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other comments or questions?
There are three other people in the attendees. All right. Philip? Philip, you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Just very quickly, born and raised Angelino, San Fernando Valley guy, lived in Toluca Lake for over a decade, grew up playing golf at Weddington. Here's the deal, it's great. That picture that I think it was Terry showed in her presentation, that corner, because I've looked at the plans, is being preserved. So Harvard Westlake has looked at what the things that are important and historic at the site will still be there. The brick wall, the putting green, the clubhouse, the light standards. There will be a return to tennis. For those that think that golf courses make money these days, you know, they don't. And the fact that there's going to be a public park, and what I'm most interested in has been tracking developments along Los Angeles River, and all of the resources that have gone into river improvements, our taxpayer dollars, from Toluca Park to Long Beach. And to have a river park there of, you know, multiple acres is really tremendous. And the fact that you can walk, you know, still onto that property during the majority of the daylight hours and sit outside of the clubhouse, still go and grab a burger at the cafe spot. I've taken my daughter for hot dogs. She's more of a hot dog person than a burger person. All of that remains. So it's time for us to think that we need to progress into a new use and a potentially better and more sustainable use of the property, because that golf course is otherwise going to wither away, or it's going to be condominiums. And that's my greatest fear, is that what was being proposed there years ago, to build 350 condominiums is not what we want to wind up happening. So with that, I would say the reason why it doesn't have an entire historic designation is because there needs to be progress into the future on the site. And I appreciate, and I've looked at this in great detail, that what needs to be preserved is being preserved. And that was the primary recommendation, because I listened to the committee meeting. Again, the brick wall, the putting green, the clubhouse, the light standards, and it's all about the continued access. This is a better outcome than what could be for this site. I appreciate your time. Thank you for your consideration.
All right, we have a few others.
Okay.
Patrice, you are unmuted.
Hi, good evening. My name's Patrice Berlin. I've lived here all my life. I own my current home in Studio City for the last 25 years near the golf course. And I really appreciate you supporting this historic nomination. Just a few things to those of you that haven't looked at this plan. I know we're supposed to stick with this historic nomination, but the plan is to put up, this is strictly for their students. That was the original plan. And there's going to be a wall around the entire facility. And they say, and they're going to allow us to walk around it. There'll be a pathway all around. That for sure we'll get to do. But everything else is by appointment. And they're going to rent out this facility. They're taking out hundreds of trees. It's going to be fake grass, which is not good for the environment. There's so many things. I went to many meetings that they had, and they will tell you most people support them, but they don't tell you about all the hundreds of negative input that they got about this project. It's obviously very upsetting. They're going to be renting out the facilities. There's bleachers for thousands of people. Our neighborhoods are going to be inundated. So before going on, if you just think about, I mean, Studio City is being so inundated right now with development. We just heard they're tearing down Sportsman's Lodge Hotel, putting up 500 and some odd apartments. Then there's another development going on right across the street. I mean, it's so insane. And just think if all of a sudden the developers and politicians decided to take away Lakeside Golf Course or decided to take away Toluca Lake. I know it's private, but this has been private too. And we just want to have a voice here to keep an eye on things. If these committees hadn't stepped up to get the historic nomination, this whole entire place would have been razed. There would have been a big wall around all of it, and there would have been no access for anybody. And just think, do you actually think that the students' parents are going to share a pool with the public that their students are using? I mean, it's absurd. All they have to do is get their insurance company to say, no, we can't have the public on the property. And I'm guessing that's what they're planning on. So anyway, sorry for going on, but it's very upsetting for many of us. We have 14,000 people that have signed a petition that are in support of this historic nomination. And we hope that you join us to save whatever we can. Thank you so much.
Next we have Lori Cone.
Hi, yes, thank you so much for holding this evening. A couple things. The Cultural Historic Commission voted to keep the entire 16 acres as open space, which would imply no buildings, i.e. no gymnasiums, but as open space. So that's one issue. I'm not sure I can't remember if Terry showed the diagram of their project. And I know this isn't about fighting development, but if you see that plan, if you saw on with the Weddington website, that plan next to what it looks like right now, you see it is wall-to-wall development on this 16 acres. It's stunning. So I hope you get a chance to view that, maybe even during your meeting still. The other thing is that hasn't really been mentioned is what's so unique and historic, I think, about the property is that it's been a place where children get dropped off by their mothers so they can go play golf or hit balls. Where else can you do that in LA? It's like a corner bar without the booze. And seniors go there to play golf, to play tennis, golf especially because they could no longer play on regulation golf courses as they age. So these are these little pieces of it that put it together and have kept it going all these years as this historic treasure. I don't know if you got the answer to the question, what does Harvard Westlake have now, and what are they putting here? What do they need it for? I can't remember how it was stated. I don't know if you got that answer or not. So I just wanted to bring that up because that was a very good question. And that's it. Just thank you so much for your time, and I hope to have your support for this nomination. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have Louis. Louis, you are unmuted. Hi, Louis, are you there? All right, we'll come back to Louis. Now I'll go. Yeah, actually, Tess has been waiting for a long time. Let me. Tess?
Yes, thank you, Colby. I want to comment and get clarification and make sure this is abundantly clear that Stacy Marble in her presentation, very detailed, thank you, but I'm extremely uncomfortable with her wording of public access. She says, quote, "We will prioritize public access," quote, "We expect there to be," etc. And that's just a little too vague for my taste and my comfort level. This is, and I'm completely with Lori Cohn and Patrice Berlin and Patty Kirby on this, that I think this open space has to be preserved in the best way possible. And the Historical Designation Commission has already done so. So I emphasize the importance of defining what this public access is going to be precisely, because just being able to walk around the property isn't meaningful. And if as someone suggested, the pool is not going to be available and the various amenities and facilities are not going to be available except on a very appointment only basis, that's not meaningful to the community. Thank you.
Thanks, Tess. Going to go to Patty. We'll wrap this up.
No, did I know?
Patty, you there?
Yes, I am. I just wanted to say that one of the gentlemen mentioned it's better than condos. That has failed so many times. It is the land is agricultural, R1. I mean agricultural. Condos cannot be built there ever without a zone change, and there will never be a zone change. So it's not the least of two evils. It is about open space. Thank you so much. We don't need to belabor it over and over.
Yeah, no, Patty's absolutely right. You would need a zone change to build housing on that site, and our project does not call for a zone change. What we're proposing is we need a conditional use permit, and a term of this conditional use permit will require public access to the property. We are 100% committed to public access to this property. It will be required of us by the City of Los Angeles. And specifically for the pool, as part of our public outreach, many senior citizens did ask to be able to use the pool for aqua aerobics or swimming in the morning.
That's not going to happen.
We want to be able to provide that amenity to them and to the community.
Boy.
Thank you, Stacey. All right, Ren.
Okay, I think we've come to a point here where we need to first decide whether we want to support this Cultural Heritage Commission designation or vision, or just not support it. In other words, just stay mute on it. I don't know that we would necessarily need to oppose it. I don't think that's likely from the conversation we've had. So I think the first step would be to just take a vote on how many people on the committee want to create a CIS comment in effect to, from the neighborhood council that we support this designation. I would like to call for a vote unless there's some further comment or question. Okay, Brandon?
I'm sorry, I don't, what are we voting on?
We're voting, okay, the question is, do we support creating a CIS concerning the, in support of the designation as a cultural heritage site?
Right.
So,
is there a second? To that
good
motion?
point. Yeah, is there a second?
Second, Tess.
Okay, thank you, Tess. Okay, now we'll go around and vote if we can. Brandon?
No.
No. Okay. Ron?
Abstain. Not enough information.
Okay. Tess?
I support CIS historical designation from the great.
Okay. Robert? Bob Sabelli? Unmute?
Unmute him, make sure he's unmuted.
Sorry, can you hear me now, Ran? I'm sorry.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I said I have to abstain as well.
Okay. Fred?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see, anyone else on the committee?
I vote on this. Well, I'm gonna.
I'm sorry? I missed it.
You missed.
What, how do you vote, Colby?
Abstain.
Abstain, okay.
That sucks.
Okay, so we've got one no, two yeses, and three abstained.
Does Lee vote?
Oh, yes, of course. I'm sorry. Thank you. Yeah, Lee.
Let me make sure he's available. Lee? He's not unmuting. Lee, push unmute. He's not responding.
Okay. So my sense of this at this point is that we don't have enough support to create the language for the CIS, and we need more information. Is the way I'm reading this. I would strongly recommend all the board members read both the Harvard Westlake write-up and the proponents of this. I think Patty gave us the address for that. And we can, maybe get more information and bring this back to the next meeting. In case there's a delay in the decision-making on this, there often is. We'll put it on the agenda for next next meeting, and hopefully by then, those who feel they don't have enough information yet can gather the information and come to a position, one side or the other, on our taking a position on this.
Brendan, may I interject, please?
Sure.
First of all, there's nothing that would prevent us from having a special meeting once all of the information is circulated in order to just determine this one issue, since 3 people have abstained. Secondly, did I misunderstand, Colby, that you said at the start of this meeting that you were not going to be a committee member?
Not after this meeting. I went through this meeting, and then the following meeting, I'm not going to be a committee member.
Okay, so you're a committee member tonight to vote, but not starting next week.
I believe I will step down from this position. I'm just overworked, but at this moment, I'm still on the board. But I told Ren that I was planning on, leaving the committee. I have too much stuff.
Okay, understood. Okay, I understood at the beginning of the meeting that you weren't going to be a committee member, I guess, starting now, but so I was mistaken?
Yeah, that's correct. Yes.
Okay, all right. So Ren, if we get all the information to the committee members, then we can have a special meeting and take a position on whether or not to create a CIS. I would make a motion to do that, please.
Okay, you're in order for us to do that, we would all have to gather up the information and get familiar with it very quickly, because we'd have to have our special meeting at least 3 days before our regular GTLNC meeting, which is a week from tomorrow. So that doesn't give anybody very much time to do the background and research on this. I would think, well, I'll tell you what, I will, offline, I'll research the committee, find out how strongly people feel about having a special meeting. And if there is consensus to have a special meeting, we will have it.
Fred, you have a comment?
Yeah, just a quick question. So we voted 2 yeses, 1 no, 3 abstain. And Lee is somehow not unmuted, so we can't know his vote. But wouldn't 2 yeses and 1 no mean we're for it?
No, because it's not a majority of the committee. The abstentions are people who need more information. They didn't feel comfortable with making a decision. So I believe it's not really a no vote. It's, we need more information before we can decide.
Okay.
At committee level, I think it's important that we don't push something through on a 2 yes votes. That's problematic. And especially if now, if we voted yes and we went ahead to create a statement, the people who abstained and the one who said no effectively wouldn't be able to participate in the creation of the language. So, I think we have to move this off the agenda, or move it, to a special meeting or the next meeting to get a final decision on it.
Okay, and just really quick, because I'm still learning, if Lee had voted yes and it was 3 yeses and 3 abstains, would that change anything?
No.
No, okay.
I don't think it would.
Okay, last question is, and I think these people, don't they need an answer tonight if the city council is voting on it? It's, I think, September 14th. So is it now like a now or never type of thing? Like if we push it off, it's not going to really help them?
Well, as I say, if people feel strongly enough about it, yes, we'll have a special meeting in a few days and try to come together with some language to get in front of our board. If we don't, why then we would come back to the regular meeting on the 14th. And at that point, if the city council had moved the decision-making on or whatever, they do that sometimes, especially in cases like we're having where there's discussion and debate and people who aren't sure which way they're going, why often the council will put something off to the next round, next meeting, or even a week or a month away. So it just depends on what the council does.
Okay. All right. Hey, thanks so much for that great explanation. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Ren, did you say that you're going to be out of town this week?
Yeah, I'll have to work on this from the hotel room. This is too important for me to just, effectively kill it without giving everybody a chance to get into the middle of it. And hopefully, if we can come to an agreement, then we would, work this out. But I'll have to work from at the beach. So it's luckily I'm not working. I mean, I can take some time to work on this, so I will.
Well, that's great. And I guess then it just would be useful to reiterate the two websites, hwriverpark.com and saveweddington.org. And probably there's enough information at both of those for people on our committee to review and make some sort of determination. So I would be very much in favor of a special meeting. And I hope my fellow committee members will feel similarly, those who abstained specifically, so that they can take some time to read up and we can come to a decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. Update on state legislation concerning increased housing density. The bills 8, 9, and 10. It's very contentious. In Sacramento, our state assemblyman Nazarian has said he will not vote for 9 or 10. So I don't know whether that means that he might abstain or not show up. But anyway, he said he's not going to vote for either of those. So at our local level, at least, we've had some impact, I think. Although last year he wasn't going to vote for any of those things either. So I think he's pretty much on our side in terms of maintaining our community, our single family home areas. So we won't, we'll keep an eye on that and let everybody know if something starts to happen in the wrong direction. The community plan status, we're getting late now, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on our community plan, but back in 2019, the planning department had a number of meetings in our community to get our input on the update on the community plan. And with COVID, everything went quiet. And I've been trying to find out exactly the status and when they expect to kind of get back on track to get our community plan updated. And I'll keep everybody posted because I think it's, that's really a critical element. And we can't let the, war is too important to be left to the generals, and community planning is too important to be left to the planners. So to be in the middle of that and getting our input, making sure we understand what they've, what they're doing to us and what they're, when it's done, what they have done to us. Final thing, we've got our next meeting will be September 13th, 6:30 on Zoom. And hopefully by then I will have educated myself and relieved Colby from having to be the keeper of the Zoom. Any last comments, questions?
I have a few comments on SB 9 and SB 10.
Sure.
So a poll just came out today that might interest people here, that was conducted by one of the leading pollsters in California, David Binder. He was commissioned by the Housing is a Human Right organization, and it shows a 71% statewide opposition to SB 9 and a 75% statewide opposition to SB 10. So I think that's very, very important. it's a billionaire giveaway. There's no reason to support these bills. They are going to destroy single family neighborhoods, and there's no reason that this should be happening. So I hope people will take note and educate themselves before these horrible bills are voted on and passed. So those are my comments.
Okay. Brandon?
In fun competition tests, today the United Nations released their report on climate change. We're basically all gonna die. And in order to combat climate change, we need to upzone our single family zones in order to reduce vehicle miles traveled and reduce the greenhouse effect. So just some fun banter tests. Bye.
Thank you, Brandon. I'd love to see that. And it's always good to challenge one another. I appreciate it.
Okay, I don't see any other questions.
Bob has his hand up.
Go ahead. Oh, Robert, yeah.
Yeah, I just have a question for Patty Kirby. Is it possible to get does the committee get a copy of your slides, or is there a web page where we can access those slides?
Let me see if he's still here. Pat, are you still here?
Sorry.
Hi, Patty. Robert had a question for you.
Patty,
Okay, I'm on.
yeah, Patty, this is Bob Schiavelli. Can we have you made a slide presentation, if I recall.
Terry did, yes.
Terry did, all right. Can we have access to that slide presentation or a web
Sure.
page where it might be?
Sure, let me just get to Terry. And who would I send it to?
Send it to the chairman, Ren.
It's,
Okay, Ren?
yeah, it's REYN period BLIGHT at GTLNC.org.
Right. And just one quick question. Ren, did you vote?
No,
Well,
it's prerogative of the chair. I try to stay neutral in all of this and
okay.
not get
All right,
into the
well,
middle of it.
Well, we can move forward. If you guys look at the before and afters in both the websites, I'm sure that it will help you greatly. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay. All right.
Okay, with that, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
What's the 8:13? Okay. 8:13.
Yeah.
8.
8:13, yeah.
8:13.
Thanks, Ren.
Thank you.
Thank you, Colby, so much for.
But once you learn how, it's not that bad. But maybe we'll sit down with you somewhere. We'll just go over it in person.
Okay, yeah, I definitely need to get up to speed now.
Sure.
Because we're going to be doing Zooms till the end of December.
At least, I think even more. I have a feeling.
Okay, yeah, it may be forever.
All right.
Okay, thanks.
I'll go over it.
Yeah. Good night, everyone.